Powerful Question Coaching listeners. This is Diane. I'm coming to you today on my emotional fitness series. The reason I'm calling it emotional fitness is because fitness you continue. You don't just do it once and you're done. Fitness is something that you continue to practice and do. So we are on our emotional fitness series. Last week I talked to you about your support system, nominating your support system. And this week I'm talking to you about vulnerability. So this is one of the things that I noticed is that with your support system, if you don't actually turn to them, it's not a lot of good. So what I started seeing working in my mental health emergency room, my job, is that a lot of people said, yeah, I have support, but I don't turn to them. I don't lean on them. And what I started noticing is people would say, I don't want them to know how hard my life is right now. I don't want them to know what's going on. And so people had support systems but wouldn't lean on them. And what I felt like I heard a lot of times was everybody else's life looks so good. And you look on social media and they're so happy and they're doing so many great things and I'm not, so I feel like a failure. And I don't want to share that with people because their lives look so good and mine's nothing compared to theirs. So what I started noticing is that people don't use their support system because they can't share the vulnerability or they don't feel safe sharing it. So one of the things that Brene Brown talks about is that vulnerability in others we are attracted to, but vulnerability in ourselves we actually are very critical of. We see it as weakness. We shut it down because we feel like we're being weak. But when we see it in others, we are actually think it's not weak. We actually think it's brave, but we don't feel safe sharing and being vulnerable ourselves. So here's the reason vulnerability is so important is because it is the birthplace, according to Brene Brown. It is where all of the joy, happiness, connection, creativity, all those kinds of emotions, they come from the place of being vulnerable. So we have to learn to be in touch with our vulnerability. And I'm going to tell you a story about this. So this week, I had my own experience with struggling with vulnerability. I have a daughter with Down syndrome. I think I've shared that. She's 10, and she's having some struggles in school, a lot of struggles in school. And that particular day, we had been in contact with the school, and there was a lot going on. And I was at work. I do 12-hour shifts, and I saw a lot of kids that day. And what I found was that I was being very judgmental of the parents of these children because I was struggling with my own issues of being inadequate and parenting and how did I miss that? I'm a therapist. And so I was shutting down those feelings in myself. And so then when I saw these other parents who had children just a little bit younger than mine, they were having issues with, I wasn't able to be compassionate to those parents, kind and gentle and supportive because I was shutting down that in me. I wasn't allowing me to be vulnerable. And so what I actually ended up doing, and this is where I'm talking about turning to your support system, is I actually texted some of my closest friends. And you want to make sure they're people that you trust that will be supportive and help you through it. But I texted some of my closest friends and I actually said, I'm having mommy inadequacy issues today. And I had lots of support jump out. One person texted and said, can you go for coffee? And I'm like, well, I'm at work. I can't, but I actually did. And that's the self-care, self-compassion was I'm having a hard day. I need to take care of myself. And that means I meet somebody for coffee because I'm struggling with my own issues. So vulnerability allows us to lean our support, be kind and compassionate to ourselves, and be kind and compassionate to other people. So it is a must because if we start shutting it down, what happens is we become critical of everyone else and therefore we have kind of a crisis in our world of inability to be self-compassionate and understanding and supportive of other people. And then we actually turn into the judgment mode and we start judging other people, which is what I did. And it was hard for me to admit, I was like, gosh, I'm feeling really judgmental of these parents. And that's not what they need. They need someone to understand and be empathetic and help be supportive and show them a different way. They don't need me being critical. So that is why vulnerability is so important. So again, we oftentimes look for vulnerability in other people, but we are very judgmental of it in ourselves and see it as weakness. So start noticing that. Do you see your vulnerability as weakness? If you do, can you change that? Make sure that you lean on your support, but make sure the video on nominating support, make sure that the support you should be leaning on, because we can be harmed emotionally if we turn to people for support that aren't capable of giving that support. And then also making sure that we can be kind and compassionate to other people comes from that, from learning and to lean on other people. Again, I'm Diane with Powerful Questions Coaching. I know vulnerability is a tough topic. I understand that. But it is a must for us to learn to do so that we can be in touch with our own creativity and love and kindness and compassion. But we can also do that for other people. We can't have empathy without having vulnerability. So thank you for listening. Diane with Powerful Coaching Questions. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. And you can find me at powerfulquestionscoaching.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.